If you want to look into a crystal ball and predict exactly how long somebody will live, forget their cholesterol levels. Forget their BMI. Forget the number on the scale. Instead, look at their muscle. In the world of modern medicine, muscle mass and raw strength are two of the most powerful predictors of longevity we have. Yet, they are the most ignored. I have spent nearly a decade in the ER, and I have seen firsthand what happens when preventable diseases are left unchecked. I have realized that the patients who stay independent, who avoid nursing homes, and who recover instantly from illness all share one biological trait. They are strong. I am not talking about bodybuilder strong. I am talking about functional armor. But the patients who deteriorate the fastest, the ones who lose their freedom after a single fall, they lost their muscle years before they lost their health. Today, we are going to expose the science of sarcopenia. We will break down how low muscle mass doubles your risk of early death, why your biceps are actually controlling your blood sugar, and the specific protocol you need to build protective tissue at any age. Let's start with a terrifying reality check. Most people think muscle loss is an old person problem. It is not. It starts right now. Once you hit your mid-30s, you begin to lose between 3 to 8% of your muscle mass per decade if you are sedentary. That might sound like a slow leak, but compound that over 30 years. By the time you reach your 70s, you could have lost nearly half of your total muscle tissue. This condition is called sarcopenia, and it is an independent risk factor for mortality. That means, regardless of your other health stats, simply having low muscle mass increases your risk of death by anywhere from 2 to 5 times. Muscle is not just about aesthetics. It is your body's 401k pension plan. The earlier you invest, and the more aggressively you contribute, the more health you can withdraw later when your system starts to slow down. But why exactly does muscle keep you alive? The answer lies in your blood sugar. Think of your muscles as a massive sponge. When you eat carbohydrates, pasta, bread, fruit, your blood glucose rises. Your body needs a place to put that energy. About 80% of the glucose in your bloodstream is absorbed directly by your muscle tissue. Now imagine two people. Person A has a large, dense sponge, lots of muscle. They eat a meal, and their muscles soak up that glucose effortlessly. Blood sugar stays stable. Person B has sarcopenia, a tiny, dried-up sponge. They eat the same meal. The sponge is full instantly. The glucose has nowhere to go, so it spills over. It stays in the blood. The pancreas panics and pumps out massive amounts of insulin to force it into the cells. This is the mechanism of insulin resistance. This is how type 2 diabetes starts. It is a simple equation. More muscle equals a bigger tank for fuel. Less muscle equals metabolic overflow. This is why research consistently shows that for every 10% increase in muscle mass, there is a significant drop in insulin resistance and diabetes risk. It works independently of your weight. You can be skinny but have no muscle, and biologically, you are diabetic. This brings us to metabolic flexibility. This is the holy grail of health. A healthy metabolism is like a hybrid car. It can switch between burning gas, carbohydrates, and burning electricity fat seamlessly. Muscle is packed with mitochondria, the power plants of your cells. When you have more muscle, you have more engines burning fuel. You become efficient at oxidizing fat. People with low muscle mass are like old gas-guzzling trucks. They are stuck in sugar-burning mode. They get hangry if they miss a meal. They crash in the afternoon. They cannot access their fat stores. Resistance training restores this flexibility. It turns you back into a hybrid, allowing you to go hours without eating, maintain high energy, and keep your cellular engines running clean. Before we get to the single most important physical test you can do at home to check your longevity status, I want to ask you a quick question. Are you actually subscribed to the channel? I look at the analytics, and a huge portion of you are watching but haven't hit that button. It takes 1 second, it's completely free, and it helps us get this life-saving data to more people. If you're already part of the community, thank you. You are the reason we do this. Now, let's talk about the brain. This is where the science gets truly fascinating. We used to think muscle and brain were separate systems. We were wrong. Muscle is an endocrine organ. When you contract your muscles against resistance, they secrete chemicals called myokines. These are anti-inflammatory compounds that travel through your blood and reach your brain. One of the most powerful effects is the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Think of BDNF as Miracle-Gro fertilizer for your brain cells. It encourages the growth of new neurons and strengthens the connections between them. High levels of BDNF are associated with better memory, faster learning, and a significantly lower risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. So when you are doing squats or deadlifts, you aren't just building your legs. You are physically fortifying your brain against cognitive decline. It is cognitive insurance. But in the ER, I don't see patients dying from low BDNF immediately. I see them dying from gravity. Falls are the silent epidemic of aging. A hip fracture in someone over 65 carries a 20 to 30% mortality rate within 1 year. Let that sink in. 1 in 3 people who break a hip will be dead within 12 months. And for those who survive, many never go home. They end up in assisted living, losing their independence forever. Strong glutes, strong quads, and a reactive core are your shock absorbers. They are the difference between a stumble that you recover from and a fall that ends your life as you know it. It is tragic because it is preventable. The frailty cycle, where you get weak, so you fear falling, so you move less, so you get weaker, can be broken. So how do we measure this? How do you know if you are at risk? Researchers use a metric that is so accurate, it is now considered a vital sign alongside blood pressure. Grip strength. You squeeze a device called a dynamometer. That single number correlates remarkably well with your total body strength, your bone density, and your overall survival rate. If your grip is weak, your system is failing. It is a check engine light for your body. But here is the empowering part. Grip strength is modifiable. You can change it. By doing farmer carries, walking with heavy weights in your hands, or doing dead hangs from a pull-up bar, you aren't just improving your grip. You are signaling to your entire body to toughen up. So is it too late? Absolutely not. The most critical takeaway from this video is that muscle is highly plastic. It responds to stimulus whether you are 25 or 95. Studies on nursing home residents in their 90s show that with progressive resistance training, they can gain significant strength and muscle mass in just weeks. Here is the protocol you need to follow to build your longevity armor. First, nutrition. You need materials to build the house. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at processing protein. This is called anabolic resistance. To overcome this, you need to eat more protein, not less. Aim for roughly 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. If you weigh 150 pounds, you need up to 150 grams of protein. Prioritize this at every meal. Eggs, steak, chicken, Greek yogurt. Second, the training stimulus. You need progressive overload. This simply means doing a little bit more than you did last time. More weight, more reps, or better form. Focus on compound movements. These are exercises that use multiple joints and large muscle groups. Squats, deadlifts, rows, overhead presses, and push-ups. These give you the highest return on investment. You do not need to live in the gym. 3 sessions a week, 45 minutes each, is enough to transform your physiology. Third, combine it with walking. Walking acts as the foundation of your pyramid. It builds cardiovascular health and burns calories without stressing your nervous system. But walking alone is not enough to stop muscle loss. You must lift things. If you are overwhelmed, simplify it to this. Move every day. Lift heavy things 3 times a week. Eat protein at every meal. In the modern world, comfort is the enemy. We sit in chairs. We take elevators. We order food to our door. We are engineering movement out of our lives. You have to engineer it back in. The patients I see who are thriving in their 80s are not genetically gifted. They are just consistent. They treat strength training not as a hobby, but as a prescription. Invest in your muscle today. It is the only investment that guarantees a return for the rest of your life. Start where you are, pick up something heavy, and I will see you in the next video.